Luther King Jr. weekend. Judge Young in Massachusetts said that the actions of the Trump administration are akin to when people were paid bounties to chase after newly freed slaves, to re-enslave them and return them to their masters. I'm Michael Popak. We've got your attention. You're on Midas Touch and on Legal AF. Let's talk about Judge Young. Judge Young is a part of a team of senior status judges who are in their late 70s and 80s who are defending democracy every day, like Judge Breyer in San Francisco, who issued his ruling about Donald Trump's violation of the Posse Comitatus Act and the National Guard in California, stopping Donald Trump in his tracks. Or Judge Coffenor up in Seattle, who issued the first birthright citizenship decision that kicked off the whole protection of our 14th Amendment rights to be born in this country and recognized as an American. And now Judge Young, who has been chastised by the United States Supreme Court, who said he was defiant because he didn't follow a prior order of theirs as precedent. He shrugged his shoulders and said, defiant? He basically said, I'm an 85-year-old senior status judge. It was not my intention to be defiant. I just didn't understand your ruling about Donald Trump cutting off funding to be such a precedent based on the emergency docket. And now he has in front of him students and professors who are here on student visas and or on green cards who are protesting Donald Trump's foreign policy and policy related to Israel and the Palestinian people. And so he was effectively jailing Palestinian protesters on college campuses, not committing crimes, just committing First Amendment freedom of expression, which you enjoy even if you are not an American citizen. Anyone on U.S. soil enjoys First Amendment and constitutional protections. They're not terrorist sympathizers that need to be expelled. If you can believe it, and I know you can, the Trump administration spokespeople even went so far as to call for the expulsion or deportation of Judge Young for having ruled against the democratically appointed president. Yeah, it's gotten that bad. Have a seat. Let me read to you from this is just a hearing now about what should the remedy be. This judge already found that the Trump administration committed serious conspiratorial acts of First Amendment abuse against the rights of these people to speak out freely. Instead, they were taken off the streets. They were disappeared into ICE detention facilities, sound familiar, without due process, and held for months until they were bailed out at some point. And the Trump administration even had the balls in court, that's a legal term, even had the balls in court to look Judge Young in the eye in the middle of this barrage of criticism of the conspiracy being unmasked and say, Judge, you don't have any jurisdiction over us anyway. The judge said, I have no jurisdiction to issue a remedy for a constitutional violation. They said, no, you have to go through immigration court. That's an immigration judge's policy. That's what he gets to do under the Immigration and Naturalization Act. You don't have the power here. Now, there is some support for that argument. We just had a ruling that came out of the Third Circuit Court of Appeals sitting in Philadelphia about Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University professor, adjunct professor and protester. And they basically said something like federal judges under most circumstances don't have power to remedy constitutional violations. But I think the record developed by Judge Young certainly gave him the power to fashion the remedy. And that's what this hearing was about. Listen to the quotes from those that were in the courtroom about what the judge observed. Here's what the judge said. I find it breathtaking, this is Judge Young now, on Thursday, that I have been compelled on the evidence to find the conduct of such high-level officers of our government, cabinet secretaries, conspired to infringe the First Amendment rights of people with such rights here in the United States. These cabinet secretaries have failed in their sworn duty to uphold the Constitution. Think of the language that this senior status 85-year-old Reagan appointee used against the Trump administration. Conspiracy, infringe. He, in fact, at one point said this is at the highest level, that there hasn't been anybody higher than Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem to ever have gone after the First Amendment the way he's ruled that they have. I want to eat better.